All right, good afternoon. It is November 4th, 2022, and you can see today really just a range day. Um, let's see, I didn't even draw the highs and lows, but you can see the lows were very consistent. And so that might influence a couple of trades down here as we go through it again. Let's see if this gives us some more. Okay, so I don't think the midline really looks necessarily better or worse up here as opposed to right here. So I'll just leave it like that. And let's go through these trades. So again, I forgot to mark the overnight. Let's check it out. 5 o'clock is right about here. First entry. So this is a failed second entry. I'm not sure if you would want to take that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And yeah, you might want to take that one. But your stop has to go above this signal bar. That looks pretty good to me. And then we have this news item. And then this is a failure. I like that. I mean, I'm going to mark it blue, but this kind of, I kind of don't like it when it makes that first attempt to go lower below the EMA, just because I feel like I typically don't really know what I'm doing enough to take those. You can see this looks like a trend line. So, but this, I mean, that signal bar is really good. These bars were really big though. Yeah, that's 7-point bar, so you got to be careful. And if you took the second entry, you got trapped out here. This is it's congestive. And you just missed the entry. That's pretty much it. You get this double test right here, so maybe you take that, but it's really congestive at that point. But you can see a bunch of people like that. And we get this pullback, but that's too congestive. And we chop our way on up here, and it starts to turn. And you don't know that this is a trend channel, but that's a second entry short. That's a really good signal bar. I like that. I like that. I think you got to take that. And then we're just moving down. And unfortunately, you don't get anything. And then we get this overshoot that leads to a break and a couple legs down to a new low. And the reversal pattern happens below the EMA, so there's nothing there. And we get this pretty strong move up. You get a break, move to a new high before it starts going sideways. Sorry, I had an interruption. This is definitely a two-legged pullback, even though that is technically the second entry. That's a two-legged pullback. I like that to test at least these highs, and you can see it tests these highs, and that's where it finds resistance. And you actually get a double test right here. That's also a second entry short. And I think with that being, even though we're in an uptrend, with that being, you have plenty of room to scalp. I'm marking that green, but that looks pretty good to me. We're making higher lows, so you got to be careful, but that looks pretty good to me. And then we get this failed break lower, first entry, failed second entry. So the reason I like this is it's also a breakout pullback. So it's a failure, but it's also a breakout pullback. And then it continues higher. We come here. That's a second entry long, and that's off the key entry point. So, I mean, I have to mark this, but it's congestive. Should I mark it green? I'm not sure. I'll let you be the judge of that, but this is a second entry long off the key entry point, and that brings us higher. Then we get a break, and the reversal happens down here. I don't think you want to take that going into the EMA. I mean, this is just some choppy stuff. That's technically second entry short. But that's congestive. I don't think you want to take that. And then this stuff, it looks kind of choppy. You got an inside bar right here, so you can't go short there. Second entry, not a good setup. This lower high is just it looks too far from this swing high. Then we come down here and we have, this second entry, we get a double bottom really. Then we get a new low. First entry, second entry, no good signal bar, and this is our confirmation of the trend channel. Come down here, you get a first entry, second entry, and the downtrend's pretty strong at this point, so maybe you take that. I marked this probably thinking that this was the failure, but oh yeah, the failure. So the failure didn't trigger yet. So technically, this is where the failure happened. So maybe you do take that, and that brings us into this strong move down. So I think really the strong move starts like right here. And so I think if you see that, I think you can, this is one of those situations where you can take any good signal bar. Problem is this one doesn't come back to the trend channel. So maybe you don't want to take these, but that's a strong move down. And then technically this is a second entry short. And why did I like this one? Oh, this is a failure off the EMA, and the move down was just very strong. So I like those. Then we get the overshoot of this channel, which leads to the break. So when we get this break and you get this second entry long, we didn't make a new low. So this is an aggressive entry, but it looks pretty good. And then you get a failure right here. I marked it blue. Probably be green since we didn't hit the highs of this channel. Come down here, you get a second entry short. But it's so far from the EMA. It's just aggressive. And then clearly we're in this range. It breaks out, and that's a failed break higher, really bearish signal bar. And this one ticks lower, and so this is technically a second entry. And then this is just a bunch of choppiness, and then we get a spike and channel. First entry, failed second entry off that key entry point. So that's a good one to at least test the highs. Come up here. First entry, failed second entry. It's also second entry long. But it's just so far from the EMA that that's aggressive. And we get a break of this channel. And this is a second entry long as well as a failure. So I marked that, but I mean, we're just chopping around. So you got to be careful. And you could look at this as a double bottom, first entry, failed second entry. So maybe you take that one. And that's what I saw for today. So I hope everyone had a great day, and I'll be back on Monday.